I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, the podcast where we discuss female-driven films through an inclusive feminist lens, with the help of the 1988 film Heathers. Paid in Puke is hosted by Jessica Baxter, Amy Green, and Christina Barr. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. Welcome to Paid in Puke. It's a huge episode today because not only is it our third Abortionpalooza, but it's also our 100th episode.
Yay!
Congratulations, everyone.
It's flown by.
We can now be syndicated.
Yeah, okay.
That's a joke for the olds. Yeah, so Abortionpalooza 2024, woo! We're doing something a little different with this one because a double feature can sometimes be overwhelming. So we're going to discuss one movie, Grandma, and one TV show, Season 3, Episode 5 of the 1980s TV series 21 Jump Street. That episode is titled, Whose Choice Is It Anyway? Before we go into that, I just wanted to do a quick, depressing overview of the state of abortion rights in the U.S. today, July 27th, 2024. As of this date, Roe V. Wade has been overturned by the Supreme Court. That happened June 2022. That fucking sucked. And it allowed conservative states, basically. It allowed all the states, but conservative states were the one that decided to ban abortion outright. 14 states have made abortion illegal completely since then. But it's still protected by state law in 21 states and the District of Columbia. But there's 26 remaining states and 3 territories where it's under attack. So that's where we're at. Obviously, we've got a big election coming up. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? It's very scary. When we first did our Abortionpalooza 1, there were more abortion rights than there are now. And every subsequent one has been more and more strict. So we still need Abortionpalooza. We definitely still need abortion and abortion rights.
What are you doing tonight?
I don't know. Morning. Maybe watch some TV.
A short history of abortion on TV.
Are we going to start with Maud?
Maud does come up. You know it, girl. I got a lot of this history from a 2021 Vox article by Tanya Melendez called How TV Lied About Abortion. Basically, it's about how the depiction of abortion on television was A, very meager, and B, basically it was just like, oh, only middle-class white women have this problem. So it wasn't very representative. Only 2 abortions were depicted on primetime television between the first broadcast of television in 1928 and 1980. The first ever was merely a mention in a 1961 courtroom drama called The Defenders, and it wasn't in relation to a regular character, so they were just kind of dipping their toe into that one. And then 1972, B. Arthur got an abortion on Maude.
That was like right after Roe v. Wade.
Oh, yeah.
Like it had just become legal everywhere.
Nice, thank you. 65 million people watched that episode, which was 1/3 of the American population at the time. Maude was a 47-year-old married grandmother who was surprised to find herself pregnant. And in the end, she had the abortion, but it was off camera, and they never mentioned it again on the show.
Would it disappoint you too much to learn that becoming a father was never one of my life's ambitions? For years, I used to feel guilty about it. For years, people told me I was nuts or selfish. How can I not love kids? Well, I do love kids, but they don't have to be mine. That's probably the worst confession I'll ever make. Do you hate me?
Of course not, darling. I love you. I love you, and I love my life.
I want you to have whatever it is you want. Does that include the baby?
Well, it did when I thought you wanted it.
I think it would be wrong to have a child at our age.
Oh, so do I, Walter. Oh, Walter, so do I.
We'd make awful parents.
Oh, impatient, irascible.
Awful. It's just not our time
Well,
of
for
life.
other people, it might be fine, but for us, I don't think it would be fair to anybody.
Melendez breaks up the typical abortion TV plot into 3 trope categories, which I feel also apply to movies. The phew, that was close plot.
Yeah. Is that the convenient miscarriage?
The convenient
kind of
miscarriage, yeah, or what have you. This episode of 21 Jump Street falls into that category.
Uh-huh.
The second one is the and baby makes drama, which is in the end they decide to have the baby. And then the both sides plot, where they give a forum to the anti-choice people. The Facts of Life had one of those. And I guess 21 Jump Street, they think, falls into the both sides plot, but I would argue that they kind of make the other side look stupid.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to make the other side look dumb. I don't feel like they're like, oh, let's hear both sides. It's like, look at what assholes they are on the other side.
There were abortions on TV between 1980 and 2011, but they were all in cable. So there wasn't a network depiction until 2011 in Grey's Anatomy.
I dispute that. I'm 100% sure that Dabney Coleman's sitcom, Buffalo Bill, there was a character who had an abortion for sure. 100%. I remember that.
I'll have to look that up. Melinda's did not find that. That Buffalo Bill.
Who can forget Buffalo Bill?
Well, yeah, I was listening to Gina Davis's audiobook, and she was on that show.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Right. So on cable, they mentioned Showtime's Soul Food, 6 Feet Under, Friday Night Lights. And then Grey's Anatomy was Sandra Oh's character, which she does choose the abortion at the end. And then Melinda's really liked this 2015 episode of Scandal, which is the same showrunner, Shonda Rhimes, where the main character, Olivia Pope, discovers she's pregnant and the father is the President of the United States. So she doesn't tell anyone, and we don't see her schedule the procedure. But there's a 1-minute scene where she visits a clean, modern medical facility, and you hear sounds of the vacuum aspirator.
Oh, okay.
Basically, it was hard to get abortion on TV in a fair depiction of it, and most people chickened out at the end. Mm-hmm. Most writers chickened out. So one of my hot props with this episode was that they did the few that was close thing, but maybe they had to. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of feel like there's another category. This happens in the show. They also did it on Sex and the City. Judy had an abortion a long time ago. You know, Sex and the City has an abortion episode that's like not great, but Carrie had one a long time ago. Samantha had a couple in the past. Like, I feel like that's a fourth trope where one of your characters had one, but not depicted. Like someone else gets pregnant and they're like, have you ever been in this situation? Yeah, I had an abortion like 5 years ago. For sure, it's a hot prop that this is that problem's over. But it is kind of a fun way to do it because basically the guy who wanted her to have the baby is the one who ended up terminating it. You know?
Oh my God.
I think if it was like, okay, you can't have the character have an abortion, it's like,
So they were like,
kind of a fun
Oh my God.
let's have this happen. So I feel like that's kind of great.
I
way
know.
to
I couldn't believe,
That is pretty great. The funnest of facts regarding this 21 Jump Street episode is that the teleplay is credited to Michelle Ashford, who wrote the film Cat Person that we're going to talk about later this season. That was just such a wild coincidence.
That is such a weird,
But also, I was really glad that they let a woman write the episode. Like, there's also 3 men credited, but they're just, like, creator credited.
Oh, was it that Jerry J. Cannell or something?
Stephen J. Cannell.
Yes, that guy with the typewriter.
Yeah. But you can really tell that a woman wrote this episode. It just, it's all over it, which is why it's so good. It's surprising.
Yeah, I know. Because we watched it a few years ago because I remembered that Bobby from Twin Peaks was on an episode of 21 Jump Street. And then we found it and watched it and was like, wait, was this show good? Like, what?
I think sometimes it was.
Yeah.
It's interesting because obviously ACAB, to have Judy's perspective in such a sort of fleshed out way was so good. So 21 Jump Street, if you don't know, is a show about a bunch of young-looking undercover cops. 21 Jump Street is the address of their really quirky office. And everyone that works there, basically they look like actors who would play teenagers in a movie.
Right.
But within the world, they look like other teenagers. So they investigate undercover crimes that happen in schools, high schools and college, generally.
When these guys go to school, they don't carry books. They carry a badge. They're young. They're tough.
Either got a lot of guts or a lot of friends.
They're cops. Johnny Depp and his deputies.
These are undercover cops.
In school.
If we play cop in here, all we're gonna get is dead.
Maybe not. Undercover. Police! Out for justice. This is wrong. 21 Jump Street.
And so in this is a Judy episode, because each of the characters get their own episodes. Judy played by Holly Robinson-Peete, who is at the time credited as Holly Robinson. She goes undercover at a high school where there's an abortion clinic on campus, which is another hot prop right there.
Right.
That would never happen, I don't think. But
Well, they don't do abortions at that clinic. It's like a
Education
Yeah,
center.
that's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sunday, a dark secret from Holly's past.
It never should have happened.
21 Jump Street. Sunday on Fox.
So she goes undercover, but then also a colleague of hers, Harry Aoki, played by Dustin Nguyen, with a very epic mullet.
Right.
He goes undercover with the anti-choice people.
Oh, right.
And then they have a very helpful conversation later, Harry and Judy. That's another Twin Peaks connection, because Harry's fake name is Harry Truman.
Sheriff Harry S. Truman. Bill Cooper, FBI, please.
Harry Truman and Aoki. Yeah. I know, I wrote that down. I remember it.
Oh,
that's
that's-
the sheriff.
Yeah.
Harry Truman.
Oh.
There were actually 4, in total, Twin Peaks actors on 21 Jump Street throughout the run. Sherilyn Fenn and Dawn Davis. And actually, the very next episode is Hell Week with Gary Hirschberger, who played Mike. And I remember that episode for some reason. That was like my first exposure to frats. And I was like, they sound bad. I'm never going to one of those. The show might have been really cool, except for the ACAB part. It's interesting. So at the clinic, Judy befriends Rebecca, who's pregnant by her ex-boyfriend, that's important, played by Dana Ashbrook. Mark is his name. And outside the clinic is a traveling terrorist. Peter Daly is his name. He's suspected of bombings across the country, clinic bombings, but they can't connect him to any of them. And you find out later it's because he basically coerces the kids into doing the dirty work.
Peter Daly shut down 12 clinics nationwide. And at each one, there were incidents of vandalism, harassment, physical attacks. Violence keeps escalating. No one can tag Daly to any of it.
He basically lives of TikTok. It's like stochastic terror or something.
That's true.
Like, what? My violent rhetoric caused violence? What did I...
Exactly.
Shut up. Hot Probs is on. Oh, shit, yeah.
Any other hot props y'all have for this episode?
Just how the B plot is so dumb, I don't care about it.
Oh,
you know?
that was
Oh,
mine
yeah.
too with the prostitute.
I'm like, who is
and
this
the-
guy? I used to watch this show kind of regularly, and I'm like, I don't remember this guy at all.
Yeah.
Blowfish or whatever.
What man does not have a rock-solid image of himself? Maybe we should fix him up with somebody. Come on, he's married. I'm not talking about honeymoon hotel. I'm talking about a little lunch with a beautiful woman to make him feel better about himself.
Yep, you definitely need an ego boost.
Eventually, I sort of came around. I'm like, oh, is this supposed to show you can't trust men? This is why women are just making their decisions on their own.
Maybe.
One part of that I thought was a little funny is when they're spitting around ideas of oh, who can we set him up with? And they mention someone, and Richard Grieco is like, she's not a good sport, trust me.
Oh, I know.
I'm an asshole.
What do we get?
Judy. No, he sees her every day.
You can't use Dorothy. You know it was a setup. What about that redhead? Works in Vice. She's not a good sport. Trust me.
This is really pathetic.
4 guys, and we can't think of one woman to be nice to Blowfish.
I flagged that for sure.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that side story made me feel like, okay, this must have been Stephen J. writing this part or
But I
something,
think
not a woman.
Yeah, but I agree with Amy saying that it was a little subversive.
Yeah, I think it was a woman because the men all look so bad in that B plot, you know?
Yeah,
They're
but I
to get
think...
confidence, we'll hire
And
a
it's-
sex worker. And
Right.
we'll
I mean,
shame
it's
her
also
and
they're
we'll-
literally caught. That is also very funny when the guys realize, wait, Booker.
Monica's a hooker.
A stripper, there's a big difference.
Not if you paid her.
Prostitution. Prostitution? Reread your handbook, Hanson. It's only prostitution if she sleeps with him.
She did sleep with him.
Hey, I only hired her for a lunch date. What do you want me to say? All she was supposed to do was go and laugh at his jokes for about an hour.
What stripper gets paid to laugh? Can't believe we trusted you. How could we have trusted him?
Did you hire a hooker? We're not like contributing to this. Like we're cops.
I know. Well,
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
yeah, I guess that was like the comedy part of the show. Oh, we gotta hook our buddy up. I just felt like, no.
It was
I was a
stupid,
little like
but I do think,
eye-rolly
yeah.
about it.
I agree with you that Stephen J. Cannell was like, we have to have the men in this somehow. Like, everyone's gonna be like, where's Johnny Depp this week? So they had to have...
And you know, all the Peter DeLuise fans.
I know you're joking, but he was my favorite character.
Oh God, why? Because he said lasagna.
Because he was hilarious. I thought he was so fucking funny. I love the DeLuises, apparently. Because you know how I was
Is
so
he
crazy about...
related to Dom?
Yeah, it's his son.
Wow.
I love that DeLuise sense of humor.
Flotsam. Do you really expect us to believe that you didn't spring for last night?
On my mother's honor. Guys, something must have went wrong. Maybe she likes him.
Well, there's always that possibility.
So maybe he does feel better about himself.
On second thought, you are a flotsam.
The confessional scene with the priest with the Irish accent.
No.
I'm just like, oh my God, this is straight from the 80s.
Yeah, it is an 80s cop show.
I mean, yeah.
Kissing is not a sin.
What about French kissing?
My son, you have committed the sin of lust. For that, you must make an act of contrition and visit the Stations of the Cross. But more importantly, you must end this relationship before it goes much farther.
Yeah, that's not great. And just as a hot prop within the narrative, you must end this relationship before it goes much farther. I thought that was just a funny turn of phrase.
Yeah, maybe any farther.
Again, that kind of tracks. Like a sort of vaguely pervy Irish priest.
Right.
And also just the whole 21 Jump Street hot prop in general is that like every episode basically ends in a betrayal because they're like lying to kids.
Right.
It's always like some high school kid is like, I thought you were my friend, that's fucked up.
Right.
At the end of every single episode. But at least this time I feel like they kind of have that conversation and then Rebecca's like, okay, I guess I understand.
How you feeling? I trusted you. I trusted you with everything and you were lying.
Rebecca, I wasn't lying. Not about understanding what you're going through. You have to believe that.
And then, of course, the convenience of losing the baby and the blast, but then that ends up being subversive as well.
I will say my personal hot props are Johnny Depp and Richard Grieco are so fucking hot. It's upsetting. I hate being so attracted to. I don't know what happened to Richard Grieco or anything, but Johnny Depp, it's a problem.
I know.
How hot he is. But I have to live my truth.
I know. I mean, this kind of goes in with her
Crazy
lunchtime
hot.
poll later. I also was a huge Johnny Depp fan for a long time. It's one of the reasons I watched that show. He was a good actor.
Yes.
I mean,
He's
yeah.
a good actor and a terrible
I will
person.
always stand by his performance in Cry Baby as like such a great comedic performance.
Yes. But I did have to get rid of my Crybaby t-shirt because I couldn't wear Johnny Depp on my
I still
tits.
have my tank top that fits like, it's like the best fit of any tank top I own. It's like the wrong size and I shrank it in hot water and it fits perfectly. And I have
Whoa.
never been able to replicate that.
That never works usually.
It's the only time it ever worked for me, that one tank top.
Oh, I did write it down with kind of just a contextual hot prop, I guess. She's talking to Captain Fuller, you know, about what she's going to do, and she's walking out, and he says,
Hey. Be careful.
and I was like, has he ever said that to any of the men? Like, obviously, she should be careful. She's always doing dangerous shit, but it's an interesting thing to include. If she doesn't say anything.
Next call.
Yeah, but other than that, it kind of bangs.
I liked in the episode that they hit every single talking point that comes up with the characters. You see Rebecca at her home and Holly Robinson goes over to her house and her sister has a baby and she's like, I need my double shift and her sister won't babysit.
Alice, if Sammy starts crying tonight, take him downstairs. Your father's got to be up at the crack of dawn tomorrow.
Did you leave my uniform in our room?
Oh, honey, I forgot to go to the cleaners. I'll pick it up first
I
thing in the
needed it
morning.
tonight.
Oh, and Rebecca, you got 2 more acceptance letters, Brown and Amherst. I'm sorry about the cleaners, honey.
I just hope you haven't forgotten about Saturday night. You promised you'd babysit Sam. Not Saturday. I have plans. This is important. I'm booked for a double shift. And I gotta have the extra hours. I'll pay for a babysitter or have Mom and Dad do it. They're busy. I can't believe you're doing this.
Alice, I'm sorry. Any other time would have been fine.
She's like, I could do it any other time. And then she's like, here, I'm leaving. Because, like, she's so desperate to do things, you know?
Well, she has to go to work. It's not even that she's, like, desperate to have a good time. She's like,
She has to go pick up her work uniform from the cleaners because their mom didn't.
Yeah.
She has only one uniform, probably because they're expensive, and she's living paycheck to paycheck, and she's still living with her mom. And without saying it directly, it's like, this is what would happen to Rebecca if she had a baby. This is not a great life.
It's like, it sucks to have a baby too young.
Yeah. Definitely.
The adoption agency they go to.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
Such a good scene.
Yeah. They want Rebecca's baby, but...
White babies are at a premium.
I just figured you could tell us both how this whole adoption thing works.
I see. Well, did the receptionist have you fill in the necessary forms, Judy?
No.
Unfortunately, we do need your background information before we can proceed.
Well, I didn't fill out anything either. And I thought I was meeting with the couples right away.
You are. But it might be good if Judy catches up on her paperwork while you're in the interviews.
Yeah, I think that'd be best. No, wait. Wouldn't it be easier if we met with the couples together?
Finding the right home for your baby is an individual process. The couples here today are more appropriate for your baby, Rebecca.
In other words, white babies go for a premium and black babies are a dime a dozen, right? Well, I'll be outside with my paperwork.
Yeah, I love that she just says it flat out like that, and they're like, can't deny it. Anyway, leave, please.
All right.
And then, like, the guy with the mullet who is, like, attending the church, he talks to Holly Robinson. He has a point of view. It's, like, some other talking point that gets brought up.
It's like, I wish I had a family.
It's really... He's adopted. That comes up a lot. They use that he's adopted storyline, I remember, multiple times.
Yeah.
But he does say that, but he also is like, doesn't he say, what about the guy?
Or, yeah, he does say that.
It's like he kind of becomes an MRA for a little bit.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I really think Live Goal's got a really good point about those clinics. I mean, parents should have a say when it comes to life decisions to their kids.
Sure, Harry, in a perfect world, but it can't always work out that way.
Margaret Cleary is no substitute for family values. I mean, she shouldn't be telling girls where to have abortions.
That's real easy for you to say, Harry, but you've never been 17, terrified, and pregnant.
But a lot of girls use abortion, Judy, as a form of birth control.
That's because they didn't get any sex education until it was too late.
Maybe. But it's just, I'd give anything to have a family, even a kid. That's why aborting a baby...
But no one can even agree if it is a baby, or when it becomes a baby, or if it's just some cells.
It's like all of those things that you've heard somewhere down the line somebody say about abortion. So I appreciated that. They kind of like fit the whole conversation that everybody hears on both sides.
Everything that people would clap back about. Right. It's like, nope, it's all in the text. It's all there. And I also feel like they picked Harry because he's like the sweetest guy. Normally, his character is the sweet guy at the place. Everyone else is kind of like obnoxious. Having him say that, you know, it's like even nice guys have these like misguided thought processes because they'll never be in this position.
Well, and that they can be susceptible to this kind of person. And that's very topical.
Definitely. Is he the one that says women would use it for birth control? Or is that...
Oh, right. He says that, yeah.
It literally is birth control.
I mean, it is, but the way they mean it is so insane because it's not easy to do, right? Even if it were easy, even if we had an abortion clinic on every corner, which we will never have, it's still like a fucking medical procedure you have to have. It's hard on you. Like, women aren't going to be like, I'm not going to ever use a condom because it's so easy to have an abortion.
Right. I feel like it's a little funny, though, when people say that they would use it as birth control because it's technically like an ignorant thing to say because what you really mean is they would use it instead of contraception, you know? Yeah. Abortion's the only actually birth control. Everything else is contraception. Yes, they would use it as the thing that it is. Yes. That's correct.
Yeah.
Also, I always thought that actor, the boyfriend, like, he's very attractive, but he's also got a creepiness about
Dana
him.
Ashbrook.
He's great.
Yes.
He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, but he's just so intense that is like... Yeah. But he was being shitty to Holly Robinson about, like, oh, what you... racist stereotypes.
Maybe she needed someone who would understand.
What? Because you're pregnant too? I'm not surprised.
What's that supposed to mean?
And your boyfriend split, right, when he found out about it?
I don't think that's any of your business.
Don't drag Rebecca into your mess just because you want some company.
Look, you don't know the first thing about me or my situation.
Stay away from her. I love Rebecca, and I love that baby.
But you're not the one carrying it, Mark. Look, I know you're hurting, but Rebecca just needs some time to sort this out.
If you want to give your baby to strangers or let it grow up without a father, fine. In fact, you can kill your baby if you want. But stay the hell out of our business.
So it was like, well, at least he's pro-choice for people.
Don't drag my girlfriend into your misery because you want company. Wow,
and
dude.
it's like, dude, she broke up with you.
Right.
I did write down, someone is like, why don't you just stay away from him? And it's like, that's literally what she's been trying to do this whole time. Right. He keeps following her.
Yeah, he's very scary. Like, he grabs Holly Robinson when she's trying to walk away and is like, look at me, you know, and like kind of a salty behavior.
And then how they have to have escorts to just get through the protesters. And then even then, the terrorist guy, the terrorist leader guy, grabs a sign. And I watched it a couple times because you don't see it. You see him grab the sign, and then he goes behind Judy, and then Judy kind of like stumbles forward a little bit.
Yeah.
He hits her with the sign.
Right. He does, yeah.
So, like, who's the violent one? You know? Jesus. And then he says, I wrote down, I love Rebecca and I love that baby.
Loser.
Okay, even if he really believes that, it's just not feasible.
Right.
It's not going to last. It's not going to be a healthy family environment.
Look, I'm gonna say this once, and that's all. This problem is something I have to deal with myself.
But it's not a problem. I mean, not really. We can move in with my folks. You can take care of the baby till I finish school, and then we can get a place of our own.
Please don't do this.
It's gonna be okay.
No. I wish it could be like that, but it can't. I'm not in love with you, Mark. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. My being pregnant doesn't change that.
Rebecca, you're not making sense. We need to...
I never meant to hurt you like this, okay? I'm sorry.
What did you say to her? What kind of ideas did you put into her head?
All I've done is listen. She turned to me because she had no one to talk to.
She should have come to me.
You can move in with my folks, he says. Like, do they hear themselves when they say things like that?
Right.
You can drop out of high school and have the baby, and I'll work at the grocery store, and that's better than...
Right.
And she's, like, barely... I don't know how far along she is, but, like, she's not showing or anything. Like, it's definitely not a baby. It's a clump of cells that's fucking up her life.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
I do really like the clinic lady, Miss...
Yeah, she's
Was
cool.
it Margaret or something? Or yeah, she was great. She had a meaningful passage I liked.
Is she the one who said marrying a man you don't love is not an answer?
Judy said that.
I think Judy said that.
Oh.
No one can tell you what to do about your pregnancy. Not me, not anyone. But I will tell you that marrying a man you don't love is not an answer. It would only wreck your life and Mark's and the baby's.
I liked these kids haven't talked to their parents about sex since they learned that you can get a baby by wishing for them.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah.
Now, if you and your friends don't believe in abortion, then my advice is never have one. That's your right.
It's also our right that our kids learn about sex at home from their parents who can teach them right from wrong.
Mr. Daly, some of the kids I see haven't talked to their parents about sex since they learned that you get a baby by wishing for it. These kids deserve straight answers. I provide them.
That is such a good line. It really kind of
like
covers
this
a lot
is
of
why
bases.
this is necessary.
Yeah.
Because, leave it to the parents. Well, the parents aren't doing it, you know?
Sex education is still not great, but all of that, like, evangelical, I don't know. Yeah, it's all, like, abstinence only and not based in reality.
You're not going to talk to your kids, and you're going to lie to them if you tell them anything.
Oh, the other thing, too, that I liked was with Margaret after the bomb. Rebecca's mom came, and she was, like, so angry. She shouldn't have even been there.
There's so much misplaced anger.
And she's like, I would do anything for my daughter.
I'm sure that both your motivations were sincere. But you couldn't possibly care about Rebecca the way I do. I'd give my life for that kid. She should have been home with me. I wish she had been. I wish that for every girl that comes to me.
Obviously, she felt she couldn't go to her mother. Lady, ask yourself why that is.
Is she the one that says kids go to you, which is talking to Margaret, because it's easier than going home?
Don't you see that kids go to you because it's easier than going home? It's not what's best for them. The love and support of their families, that's what they need most.
Some girls don't get either from their parents.
Yeah.
Which is like telling on yourself,
Okay,
right? Like, why is it easier?
Yeah. That's
They
a
won't
you
be
problem.
judgmental and force them to make a decision one way or the other. And then I like Captain Fuller is the name of their captain. I like that he yells at that guy at the end because he still doesn't get to arrest him.
There comes a point when you have to take responsibility for these people. You may not pull the trigger, but you sure as hell give them the gun.
I tried to tell that kid not to give up, that this battle is worth the fight. If someone twists my words around...
Your words are very powerful. And Mark is just an impressionable kid.
Kid or not, people respond to me because they know what I'm saying is right. For those that take it too far, they do so without my blessings.
Even though they have your inspiration.
I feel terrible about that kid. I wish I could have stopped him.
That mean you're on to the next clinic?
I leave tomorrow morning.
And that's exactly the point.
That's so relevant today, you know?
About guns, even.
Yeah.
But then the fucking best is Judy's monologue about why she made the decision.
Do you regret the abortion? I regret getting pregnant. And boy, do I regret not sharing it with my mom. But I can't say that I did the wrong thing, you know? I can't say that. Because I love my life. I'm happy. And I'm really proud of what I've been able to accomplish.
I guess when you get pregnant, you're never the same again, no matter what you decide.
I don't think you can be.
She says, but I can't say I did the wrong thing because I love my life and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's so significant to have that in the show.
Right.
And she's doing her dream job, which was to be a cop, boo. But,
Right.
you know, she's trying to be a good cop. She's actually trying to help people.
That's like a little hot prod. Like, she says that when she's posing as a pregnant teenager and in that group, and she's like, you know, I have dreams. I want to be a cop.
Well, I don't know what to think. I mean, if I have this baby, I'm never going to finish school.
But you gotta stay in school. It's too important.
So you're gonna have the abortion?
I don't know. It's just... I really want to do something special. Help people, you know? I want to make a difference with my life. I want to be a cop.
I don't feel like undercover cops should say they want to be a cop. You know?
I think they don't usually go so close to their real life when they have their stories, but this one was so personal to her that she was like, I might as well just use my actual story from the past. That's like the easiest kind of cover. You're basically telling the truth, but yeah.
Just like pick a different dream.
Yeah,
don't plant that seed. Don't plant that seed to everyone cop.
Right. That's how we help people. No.
I like too that she calls her mom at the end and tells her.
Yeah.
She's like, I never told her. She would have been so disappointed in me.
My mom is so proud of me. And the disappointment in her face, I just don't think I could take it. Mom, I wanted to tell you about something. It's something that happened a long time ago.
I think that's really nice.
It is, and it's also because, like, no matter what her mom says, any judgments that she would have had at the time are kind of moot now, right? Because,
Right.
like, I had the life I wanted, I am living the way I want.
Right.
Obviously, it was
she's
a good
happy
decision.
with her choice. Yeah.
But the fact that she hadn't shared it with her mom was weighing on her. I know, she kept saying, like, I wish I told my mom, and I was like, is her mom dead? I forgot at the end she told her. I did write down the passage, this is a war to save our children, which the terrorist said that.
Don't you understand? The next baby to be killed because of that clinic is mine.
Then take action and stop this insanity. This is a war. It's a war to save our children, to preserve everything that we hold dear. And we can't wait for others to come to their senses. We have to look right now inside ourselves and find the courage to do what has to be done.
I thought that was a good thing to have in there, except that I wish it'd been a little more explicit about how much they don't care about the children when they're born.
Mm-hmm.
That's a talking point that you hear a lot, like, why don't they just have the baby and give it up for adoption? We'll take care of it. We'll love that baby. That's not how it happens.
Right.
There was just a story about someone leaving their baby in a dumpster. And there were people sanctimonious about why didn't they bring it somewhere. And it's like, because they were in a state where it's illegal and they would have been arrested. That's why.
Right, yeah.
This is happening because of you.
I like where Rebecca did talk about the adoption. She's like, but I just don't think I could do that.
He didn't even care about our babies. He just only cared about how much he could get for them.
I know, Rebecca, but you can still give your child to a couple that really cares about it. Don't rule it out just because that guy was a jerk, huh?
But then I would know that my baby was out there somewhere with another mom. And I wouldn't know what he looked like. Or if he was okay. I don't think I could live that way.
And that's like a very valid thing.
Totally. Like, you can have an abortion, it'll never affect your life again. But if you have a baby and give it up for adoption, you're going to think about it for the rest of your life. They're going to maybe look for you. It's not a clean break.
Yeah, exactly.
Such an emotional experience to, like, go through pregnancy and childbirth, you know?
And I don't know, I've never done it, but for some people, like Rebecca, it didn't seem like she was able to do that. So, yeah, you should be able to choose not to do that, you know? Rebecca's mom was like, you have 2 acceptance letters, one to Amherst.
Right, Amherst.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we get it. She's got a bright future.
That was
Yeah, but it
So
just,
casual. Oh, Brown and Amherst.
it just seemed kind of inorganic, but I guess
That's a little clunky.
That's when TV shows were 45 minutes, commercial breaks, and couldn't be any longer. You had to get everything.
Yeah. I also hate in that side story with the nerdy guy, how he's like in the mirror trying to break up with a prostitute because he thinks he's going to break her heart.
Monica, it may come as a shock to you, but my wife is a real pro with firearms. I'm not too threatening. Monica, I believe every shoe has a foot. This is good. And I know we had something special, but I'm not the shoe for you. Great. It's warm, it's caring.
You know, the whole like having your word bubbles out loud kind of, it was just such 80s TV. Like, oh, that's great. That sounds great.
I feel like that happened on 21 Jump Street specifically. I did watch a lot of the show when it was on. That was obviously a very long time ago, but I do feel like that was like a common 21 Jump Street thing. Like, especially remember that episode with Johnny Depp when his girlfriend gets shot and he's like, I could have stopped it. It's like I think it's called 8 seconds or something. Like, he had 8 seconds to do something and he didn't do it. And so he's like losing his mind at home. Like, you can do this in 8 seconds. You can do this in 8 seconds. And he's saying all this shit out loud. I feel like that was always a say the quiet part out loud.
Right, the thought bubble moment.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
I kind of want to look at some other 21 Jump Street episodes.
It is great. I really enjoyed it. I just really liked all of the different parts of the conversation that you hear, and I just feel like nobody has the guts to make that kind of stuff nowadays, like in major TV shows.
Even now, right? Yeah, I'm actually so surprised that this episode isn't more well-known or, like, famous in any way. We just found it by pure accident.
Right.
Even in my research, I saw it mentioned like twice, but they weren't saying this is actually really good representation of an abortion decision on television, but it is.
Right. I think it's like what they're specifically talking about is a show where within the show someone gets pregnant and has an abortion, like, which doesn't happen in this episode.
It does not.
Yeah, I thought she had the abortion in the clinic anyways, and they were just telling him she lost her baby or something. I was oh, she actually lost her baby.
Yeah, that is a line that I wrote down, and I thought that was so great that they put that in there, because they were like, we have to have this, whoops, I lost the baby, but they had Rebecca say, like, I'm mad that Mark took that choice away from me.
It's horrible to be pregnant and have to decide. But at least it was up to me, and Mark took my choice away, and that's not fair.
Bravo. That's so great that you put that in there.
Yeah, that was a great line.
That felt like, fuck you, producers, for making me do this kind of thing.
My aunt was the nurse at Planned Parenthood in Gainesville. In order to get this academic scholarship for college, you have to volunteer for 800 hours somewhere. I volunteered at Planned Parenthood at the media center. I did like office tasks too, but before the internet, it was like you could go there and you could get books and VHS tapes about reproductive rights or abortion, sex education, basically. And the clinics have drills that they do because you have to. There was like a bomb threat scenario, all these scenarios that they do regular drills on. In the 90s, I forget what year it was, but there was a doctor who was shot and killed in Florida.
I remember that.
Like, I remember seeing the protesters, they actually had really disgusting pictures. To have to go through that just to get seen by somebody, just to even talk to. It's just so disgusting. And the minister, he was evil, but I didn't think they were scary enough almost in the show.
Fair, actually.
Because they can really terrorize people, you know? They're like army crawling to get past the police.
But that was the protesters. Harry was undercover with the protesters, so he was crawling. I was a little confused why they did that.
It helps them encroach a little bit more, I guess. They got a restraining order.
Yes.
Isn't that why they got him eventually? Because he violated the restraining order?
That's right.
They arrested
He got arrested
him
for that, but they still couldn't connect him to the bombing. Yes, that was actually a really good line from Margaret. She was like, "You overstepped your bounds."
You have no legal ground for this, Chloe.
Not according to this restraining order. You're to remain 75 feet from my clinic. You overstepped your bounds.
That was like a sweet bird. Like, yes, you did. But yeah, they are so vicious. And the hypocrisy from them as well. How they're like, violence against everyone is justified for this like perceived violence.
Yeah.
How is that Christian, you know? I guess it's Old Testament. It's not Jesus.
Right.
All right, any other thoughts about 21 Jump Street? Whose choice is it anyway?
Just a fun fact.
God damn, will somebody tell me why I smoke these damn things?
Do you remember the movie Zootopia?
Yes!
So the bunny character, who's like a cop, is named Judy Hopps.
Oh my god!
Really?
Yeah.
Is
from
that...
this show? Yeah.
Oh my god!
My fun fact.
Wow!
That is so fun. I never connected that. Aw.
Yeah,
that is
very cute.
Wow.
And she always wanted to be a cop. that little bunny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the fun fact that she sang the theme song, sung by Holly Robinson.
Oh wow! Oh, she did?
Yeah. That is a theme song that will get stuck in your head. Like, it's in my head right now. And then I also have to confess that that was propaganda that worked on me at the time. Like, I remember, I always loved shooting around a corner. Like, going to corners with, like, my handgun and going around. Like, it was just cool to be a cop. But it isn't. No. Kids. Even if there's one fictional good cop on TV.
I just want my high school to be a nice place. Amen.
Grandma is a 2015 film written and directed by Paul Weitz, who's known for the films About a Boy and the original American Pie movie. It was written specifically for Lily Tomlin, which is really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I read an article where he was talking about how he wrote the script and you could just hear every line in her voice. And he was like, oh my god, what if she says no? He was so nervous. But she'd agreed to do it if she could edit the script. And so there was a lot of Lily Tomlin input on this movie, which is really cool. It was a micro budget of $600,000.
Wow.
That's like nothing. Even in 2015, that is basically $0. Lily Tomlin wore her own clothes. They were just cutting costs wherever they could. But it worked. I really love an around LA, or just like around the town in one day movie, but I really like it around LA in one day too.
Yeah.
And he cast Julia Garner based off a film called Electric Children, which was a pregnancy storyline where she was raised in a Mormon cult and was impregnated mysteriously, and she thinks a song got her pregnant, and she goes to Vegas to... It says to find the father of her miracle baby, but I don't really understand. I don't have to see it, but it sounds kind of good, if sad and harrowing. So the plot summary for Grandma: Lily Tomlin is Elle, a poet whose teenage granddaughter, played by Julia Garner, visits her to ask for money for an abortion, and everybody's broke in this movie. So they take the day to try and gather the money together to make an appointment at the end of the day. And Sage is Julia Garner's character. Sage can't tell her mom, who is Elle's child, because she's very judgmental. That's the conceit there.
I need some help, Grandma.
Okay.
I need $600. $630.
For what?
I'm pregnant.
Who is he? A one-night stand?
No, ew. He's kind of my boyfriend.
Yeah. Why didn't you use a condom? Or for humanity's sake, get a vasectomy?
Oh, who is this?
It's my grandma.
You know, I cut my credit cards up into little pieces. I made a wind chime out of them.
Why would you do that? Why are you selling those books?
I need some cash. I need $500.
You must not have a lot of friends.
And now you need me, and I'm broke. You want a tattoo?
A little one.
Now that I can do.
Listen, Grandma, you better watch yourself.
Give us the money.
Get out of my home, you crazy old...
Oh my God.
You know, I liked your boyfriend. He's special. Really charismatic. You know, you need to be able to say screw you sometimes.
I say screw you.
Oh, you didn't say screw you to that little creep back there.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. You're disturbing the customers.
I mean, what other customers are we disturbing? Oh, them, Ozzy and Harriet. And all coffee drips. You don't have to say drip coffee. That is a redundancy. Oh, look, it drips. Oh, my God, it drips.
I'm scared.
I've been scared of your mom since she was 5 years old.
I mean, any idiot could see that you need to be supervised, am I right?
Are you saying I'm any idiot?
What is this?
What is the feminine mystique?
Mystique's a character in X-Men.
What?
Guess I'm an idiot.
Guess you are.
Screw you, Grandma.
Not bad.
What is your involvement?
I am her grandmother and I'm your mother.
Yes, but what are you doing here?
I'm going to be there because this is my granddaughter.
It grossed $7.1 million,
Oh,
which
wow.
doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to the budget, it's a shit ton.
Yeah.
And it was very critically well received. It premiered at Sundance. Lily Tomlin was nominated for a Golden Globe, but she didn't win. But it won some small indie awards. And Weitz was influenced by the lack of mainstream films that depict abortion. He said, "There have been a lot of movies in the past which were unwilling to even use the word despite millions of women having abortions. So I just wanted it to be real." That's from a 2015 interview on the Mary Sue.
Oh, cool.
I thought this movie was so fun.
It was really good.
Kind of a fun little character actor buffet.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe just surprise actor buffet, because I don't know if
Right.
John Cho counts as a character actor, but I was just so excited to see him.
His scene is very funny.
I forgot that John Cho was in American Pie,
Oh.
so I think that's why I did this little favor. And his outfit is so funny. He's wearing this khakis. That just makes the character right there.
Shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Were there any hot probs y'all had?
Really? I didn't really like Sam Elliott,
Yeah.
wanting to, I'll do it if you give me a kiss, like a real kiss.
So gross.
So can you loan me the money?
Sure. I want something in return, though.
What? What do you want?
A kiss.
Ha ha! You mean like a peck?
No, like a kiss. A real kiss.
And then you'll loan me the money?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get it over with.
And then he's like,
I don't want you to make love to me. Just once, for old time's sake.
Go fuck yourself, Carl.
and it's
like,
like,
we had a
come
thing
on.
about- right.
Now, also, ever since he shit on the power of the dog, that whole thing, I just really don't like. I always thought he was cool, and now his folksy face doesn't work for me at all anymore. I guess he's supposed to be this old handsome guy or whatever, but that character I thought was an asshole. And sure, she left you in the middle of the night a long time ago, but come on,
because she knew you'd be an asshole about it,
right?
And also, she was a lesbian married to a man. You know what I mean? Why can't
exactly.
you just come around to that's essentially fundamentally what happened?
Right,
you know?
yeah.
That was not going to work.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
I told you I'm here because I need some money.
You wronged me.
This again.
You were wrong how you acted.
49 years ago.
39 years ago, you were wrong.
Well, I was wrong in sleeping with you, given I was a lesbian.
Well, you didn't seem like a lesbian at the time. We were living on a boat.
Yeah, well, I was. Just a confused one.
And that poem you wrote,
Oh,
The Ogre's Seed.
that was not about you, Carl.
Are you sure you're not here to say you're sorry?
I felt like that character was way too aggrieved for.
Oh, I hate
it.
that
Did
guy
not
so bad.
earn. It was not earned.
I don't think you're supposed to like him.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that Sam Elliott thought you were supposed to like him. That was my
thinks he's,
interpretation. Based on what we know now. At the time, I might have been like, oh, he was a really good actor. But I think based on what we know now, I feel like he was feeling everything his character was saying.
I mean, I don't know if I can say that, but ever since this movie, I can't stand Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
He's not someone I ever would have been drawn to anyway, but I'm like, who cares? I mean, it's unfair. It's the character.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, ugh. Anytime I see Sam Elliott ever, I'm like,
I love Big Lebowski, and the
Yeah.
pedestal has.
I told him that he's gotten ruined. I used to love Roadhouse. I liked him in Mask.
My God, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Mask,
I really liked
the
it.
Cher movie?
Yeah, he was the boyfriend of Cher.
That was on TV all the time for some reason.
Yeah, I remember that.
I would just watch it even if I wasn't that interested. I guess I would get Stockholm Syndrome about it or something. I really liked him in Roadhouse, but Roadhouse is like a ridiculous movie. I liked that movie pretty ironically. It's just insane. It sucks. I can't enjoy him anymore. I haven't seen The Big Lebowski since the Power of the Dog incident. Although I did see a clip of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that sucks. I love that movie. That movie is so good. He was doing like the both sidesism thing, but I liked the way it was so obviously a bullshit stance coming from.
Right. I mean, I feel like a question in this movie is about, like, does the guy have a right to know? I feel like that whole thing is like, this is why if you're going to just do it, you don't really need to tell them,
I thought it was significant when he said, does the father know? Mm-hmm. Which, okay, like all the wording there. This isn't a father. This is a kid who fucked up, and he doesn't need to know, but he does know, actually, but he was a dick about it, so shut the fuck up.
Right. Well, I mean, and we're going to cover this on our lunchtime poll, but for me, whenever that topic is discussed of, like, you're going to for sure have an abortion, does the guy have the right to know? The question is, like, does it benefit him to know? Sam Elliott would have been better off not knowing about that.
Oh, yeah. And just I thought it was so telling how he had those opinions of I should have had a say in it and whatever. I liked the detail that he has 11 grandkids.
Right.
But like, obviously he doesn't really do that much, right? He's got like shit around the house. He's like the cool grandpa. He doesn't understand what it means to have children.
So you got grandkids now.
I do. You're not the only one allowed to have grandkids.
Which wife is this?
Wife number 4. Kid number 5. Grandkids 9, 10, and 11.
Jesus, you're a patriarch.
I am. I'm biblical.
My impression of it is that he was like a lot of dads were at that time.
Right.
Very hands-off, it's easy for me to have children. You should have just had the child.
And he was just very like, this is my money. What are you really using this for? I just felt like that is not...
He would give it to him.
Yeah, that's... It's like just give the money or don't give the money.
Okay, I can help.
You can?
If you need my help, I can help you. For old time's sake. 500?
Yeah.
I have it. Hold on. So what's it for? What's the money really for?
I told you it's for rent.
Yeah, you told me that, but you're a shitty liar. So what's it for?
She needs to terminate a pregnancy and she's gonna have an abortion.
No. No fucking way.
Carl.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Come on, Carl.
Go to hell.
Some people are like, well, what is my money gonna be used for?
That's real, like, giving money to an unhoused person and be like, what did you do with that money? Do it or don't do it?
It's like, do it or not.
He wasted so much of her time.
Right.
And they had precious little at that point. That guy sucks. I hated him. My biggest hot problem with the movie itself, and it's not huge, I wish that someone had told Sage it's okay if you never want to be a mom. Because everyone kept being like, it's okay, you're not ready. You're not ready. Like, you hear that a lot. It's all right if you're not ready. And I just wanted to hear one person be like, you don't ever have to be ready.
Yeah.
I don't think we hear enough about that. Because there's just too much of an implication of a woman will someday be a mom, and when it's your time to be a mom, you're a mom.
That you're not ready and not like you don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of minor just because you almost never hear that perspective in these sorts of things, but because the movie was so cool otherwise, I thought it was missing. But otherwise, I thought it was so good.
That's an interesting point, though, especially because Lily Tomlin, you would think that she would be like, oh, if you don't want this.
I would have thought she
never. Is she child free?
No, she's...
Oh, you mean in real life?
Yeah.
In real life, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I got all mixed up.
No, I just thought the Lily Tomlin character is a very fiercely independent person. And since her partner died, she has this, like, doesn't need anyone, you know, like, you can do whatever on your own. I would have thought maybe she would have said to her granddaughter, you should do what you want.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Next call.
I really liked the intergenerational dynamics with both the grandmother and the granddaughter having to go to Marcia Gay Harden's office like they're going to the principal's office or something and they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and they're both like, oh, this is going to suck. Like, they just both knew it was going to be so
hard.
That is so funny. Yeah, you're right. It's such an interesting commentary about generational stuff and how probably Marcia Gay Harden's character was rebelling against Elle for her free, breezy
yeah, like She's very rigid and perfectionist and wants
very
in the absence of, but it seems like her mom was more like go with the flow. Maybe she grew up not feeling like she knew what was going on and needed to develop all these rules for herself, and it comes off like she's such a strict disciplinarian or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
like,
just interesting the way that personality rebellion happens, however you were raised. And then also how it reflects on Sage, because she's just so lost. There's certain guidance she was missing because her mom was rebelling so much against her own moms. Like, she had some blind spots.
And then her mom, when they're like in the waiting room at the clinic, Marcia Gay Harden, she's still obsessed with trying to figure out where I went wrong here. You know, and it's like, she just seems very much a perfectionist in a detrimental way to herself and everyone around her.
Judy is her name.
Judy.
Yes, I wrote down one of her quotes being so telling about why Sage felt she couldn't go to her.
I'm deeply disappointed in you. Deeply. You know that? I had thought you were doing better. I had thought that you were becoming more responsible.
You know, people make mistakes.
I'm aware of that. I make my living cleaning up after people's mistakes. And they're not mistakes. They're choices.
Of course Sage couldn't go to her because Judy doesn't believe in mistakes.
Right.
That's kind of terrifying, right?
Yeah.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
The guy who was the father, the kid, he's like the Gen Z McLovin. I don't.
What's he from?
I have no idea, but he looks like McLovin.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant he was like an iconic character.
That's totally what I thought you meant.
No. I really liked how she beat him up. That was really fun.
I love that, yes.
You'll fuck me up, I will fuck you up.
Oh my God, stop! Hey, stop!
Oh, you hit me. And I'll hit you again. How much money do you have? Huh? Go give him like $50. Where is it? It's in my sock drawer. Thank you.
That was really funny. Someone tells her she has an attitude problem. She's like, no, I have an asshole problem. I really like that.
Right.
You know, you have a real anger problem.
No, I don't. I have an asshole problem. When people are assholes, I get angry. Especially when they've been an asshole to my granddaughter.
That's a good vibe for a middle-aged woman, right?
Yeah, I love that she really loves her granddaughter, and she's like, I've got a problem with people treating my granddaughter like that. And I really love when they're in the clinic and the grandmother wants to go back with her, and she's like,
I'm going to be right here outside, and if you need anything, or if anybody gives you any shit, they have to deal with me.
Yeah. And it was like this really nice moment with her and her granddaughter. But also, I mean, I really like that Elle was a flawed person like everybody else. It was so hard to see her be mean to Judy Greer.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Do you love me? Were you ever in love with me? Because you never said it. I thought love conquered everything.
No, love does not conquer everything. 4 months, Olivia. 4 fucking months we've been together. Tried being with someone for 38 years. You're a footnote.
A footnote? That's a really horrible thing to say.
Yes, well, I'm a horrible person.
So it's nice that she apologized at the end for that.
It's nice she apologized.
Of course it meant something to me. I love being in love with you. I never thought I could feel that way again. You know, you have a wonderful life ahead of you. And that's all I want for you. I want you to have what I had.
I loved the scene in the coffee shop, and that lady's just like, I want my hot sauce, please.
Right. Why are you selling those books?
I need some cash.
I told you not to cut up your credit cards. Why would you do that?
Is that my quesadilla?
Yes. Sorry. Here you go.
So, you want to buy them or not?
I don't know, I'm thinking.
Do you have Tabasco?
No, I have Tapatio.
Fine.
It's the same
Anything. It's fine. You said you wanted to buy them. I'm thinking. You want to be the alpha bonobo.
No.
Okay, just take it outside.
Could I get that hot sauce, please? Why don't you pay a decent wage, you cheap asshole?
What did you call me?
You heard what I said. You are not a feminist. It should be illegal what you pay these kids.
Not a kid.
Oh, it probably is illegal. You know, you're not a bonobo, Carla. You are a gorilla. You are a silverback male gorilla. And what's wrong with you? Take your head out of your ass. For God's sake, go back, get your doctorate. Stop working in this dump.
That's a hint.
Okay.
You take your stained books and get out of my cafe. I don't want them.
Fuck you. I don't want you to have them. Take your $60, shove it up your ass.
Did I just have the hot sauce, please?
That's so hard when someone's like standing there with your food.
That is a really funny scene. Meanwhile, like Elizabeth Pena's looking up books on eBay and being like, "You're trying to overcharge me for these."
Oh yeah, she was so mean to her friend, the cafe owner.
But it seemed they had a falling out that was Elle's fault.
Oh really? Yeah, and then she like totally doubled down on being mean to the cafe owner. It seemed like. I thought it was funny that she was trying to pass off her feminine mystique as like Betty Friedan spilled wine on this.
She didn't. But I can relate to that whole thing of being like, this is so old, it must be worth something, and then it never is. Judy Greer is so cute in this movie. I like her a lot.
I want better for her than this older lady who's not nice to her.
Yeah, she wasn't very nice to her.
I was glad they didn't get back together at the end.
Yeah.
She just apologized, and that was it. So
Yeah.
it's like, at least then she doesn't have to have this lingering trauma. Although maybe them being together was a little dramatic, I don't know. It's nice that that wasn't the last conversation they had. Her hearing that she was a footnote.
Right.
I liked the scene where they go to the tattoo parlor and Laverne Cox is there and she tells the granddaughter, "Oh my God, I changed your diapers."
And who's this? My granddaughter, Sage.
Oh, I haven't seen you since you were a baby.
Really?
I used to change your diaper. Now I feel old.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes.
I just remember meeting people my mom knew. It's just like, oh wow, I didn't know you changed my diapers. You know, like stuff like that where it's like, you have this whole life, people know you, but they don't now.
That's, I think, like my favorite line in the whole movie is when she's like, she needs abortion.
Remember that $400?
Oh God, Elle, really?
I could use it because she's pregnant.
She needs abortion, huh?
Yeah, she needs abortion. Oh God, you remember that?
We used to have this stick where this girl needed abortion, and she knew it was called an abortion. She thought it was called abortion.
A shtick? That's horrible.
Yeah, it is, kinda.
I also liked Deathy as her character's name, which is a funny name. Deathy, for a tattoo artist. Just that whole scene is so funny because of the conversation about the tattoo and everything. But she says, "You know you're not the easiest toke."
Do you miss her, Violet?
I miss her all the time.
That was quite a love story, you and Bobby. Of course, she had to put up with a lot.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing, darling. You know you're not the easiest toke. But that's why we love you.
It's just such a funny
I
way
liked
of
that a
describing
lot.
a person.
Right. Like, it was not hot prop, but like curiosity to me. Elle says a couple times, like, everybody disappeared when Violet got sick, you know, and it's like, why would that be? You know, like, why would people, like, disappear? But I feel like maybe it's more like, I was the easier toke, you know?
Yeah, because her daughter also said that too, like, oh, I wish Vi was here.
She balanced her out.
Yeah.
And that's probably partly why she felt so lost. She's not wrong when she says, like, 38 years. Very different than 4 months.
Right.
Still didn't have to be harsh, but it's hard to get over. And it had only been like a year or something, or a year and a half.
Right.
That's going to be still pretty fresh if we were together that long. And didn't break up for problem reasons. It was forced to lose her wife.
The scene in the tattoo parlor, I love. But I also really like how Deathy is like broke, but she gives her what she can.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas when they go to Carl's place, who he like obviously can spare it, you know? Yeah. And he's like so miserly about it and then doesn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
Your grandma, she really helped me out a long time ago. I had these 2 defective boobs. They were just leaking silicone all the way down to my knees. It was awful.
It was not pretty.
And out here, she really came through. And now you need me. And I'm broke. I'm fucking broke again. Okay. $65. I'm borrowing from the kitty for the kitty. Every little bit adds up, right?
It does. It really does.
Don't be a stranger, okay?
That's a nice
like
contrast.
broke people are so often way more generous than rich people.
Yeah.
100%. Like, the fact that he had $500 cash in his bedroom or whatever, and Dorothy's like, I have to take from the tail of my business, but I will because I love you.
Right.
Even though you're not the easiest toke. Like, that's friendship.
Right. And also on the flip side, because she owed her money for, I forget, they say why, but she's owed me money forever, you know. It's like between friends, like, who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like she's been hounding her, like, is that money you owe me? You know, it's like, I helped you out when I could. Can you help me out now? No? All right, cool.
And she only thinks of it because she's racking her brain for sources of money.
Right. Like, there's no bad blood between them about it at all. You know, which is nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and she couldn't go to her daughter for money. She has a lot of hospital bills from Vi.
Well, that's why she's broke, is because she paid off everything so that she's not in debt. But then when she did that, she has no actual money.
I love that she made a dream catcher out of her cut up credit cards.
Which is just such a nice little subtle commentary about like healthcare in America and capitalism and all sorts of stuff just tied up into one plot point, right?
A leading cause of like homelessness for people.
100%. And her wife died anyway, you know? Like, I get why she did that. She wouldn't want to be in debt for the rest of her life paying off hospital bills where her wife died anyway. Like, it didn't even help. That would feel terrible.
The your baby has fingernails comment.
Don't kill your baby.
Just ignore her.
Your baby has fingernails.
Not till 22 weeks, genius.
Baby coming slut.
Is that how you talk in front of that sweet little girl?
If you go in there, God will send me to hell.
She goes back to the protester's young child.
Hi, sweetheart. You know, there's a larger world out there that does not have to be filled with hatred and narrow-mindedness.
Oh my God. Yeah, and my grandmother needs to be looked at. What happened to you?
No, listen. I got slugged by the bad seed. It's nothing. I'm fine.
It's fine. That movie I remember watching. My friend's mom showed it to us, and it was a big movie.
It's funny.
They go to the abortion clinic and Elle's talking to one of the providers there saying like, well, when I had my abortion, it was really primitive or whatever.
Yeah.
And the woman's like, this isn't the dark ages or not here anyway.
How much is it going to hurt her?
It'd be a bit uncomfortable. She might cramp a fair amount afterwards, but the procedure shouldn't hurt.
Mine hurt. Mine did. It was like a nightmare.
Well, like you said, this isn't the dark ages. Not here, at least.
Right.
But that was like such a intense line because it's so true. Like, it is the dark ages in so many places. And then like the waiting room.
I'm gonna take you to the well woman waiting room.
Catchy name.
Catchy name. I felt like that was a very Lily Tomlin edit.
Yeah.
I really like the coffee shop interaction when he's like, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And she's like, when are you going to have to ask us?
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Excuse me?
I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
When? When are you going to have to ask us?
I'm going to have to ask you to leave now.
Oh, you are asking us.
I love that, and how he's like crouching
Yes.
next to her.
Yeah, he's talking to her like she's a child. Yeah, that was very
Really funny.
She has another line that's a little bit like that where someone says,
Oh, she goes, I should thank you. And she
Yeah,
goes,
and
knock
she-
yourself out.
Yes.
I should probably thank you.
Knock yourself out.
just calling out passive language.
I like where Judy Greer's parents were like, how come you stopped writing? And she's like, people stopped reading.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's very true.
Olivia, as Judy Greer's character, her mom was like, I read you in college.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, you're old.
I remember Olivia, though, because in the tattoo parlor, she gets the O, but then she's like, no, it's a circle.
It's a circle.
What's the O for?
No, it's a circle. It was the quickest one.
Yeah, but it looks like an O.
I thought it was for orgasm.
Oh, well, sure. It's for that.
It's not for Olivia. Isn't the name of your girlfriend Olivia?
I don't have a girlfriend.
Mom said that you did, and her name was Olivia. Don't you have a violet tattoo?
Yes, that I do.
So what's the O stand for?
Well, O's a big letter for women. Ovaries, origami, openness, orifice.
Cheerios, hello.
Old, oven, odd, ossuary, out.
Olivia?
As it happens, yes.
All done.
Great circle.
It's so not a circle, it's an O.
I like how she's just like, I need a tattoo. I need to like...
Yeah, I need to regroup.
I need to think
right?
and regroup, and gives her like a new angle to think about or like another plot.
Yeah, and just like how when you're that age, tattoos are for that instead of when you're younger and you're like, I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. It better be something. She's like, what do I care?
I like after she gets her abortion, she says, I think I'm gonna cry.
God, I feel like crying all the time.
Go right on and cry. If you don't cry about this, what the hell are you gonna cry about?
Yeah, it's been a long day. Like,
Right.
you can cry. It's
What
okay to
happened?
cry. I just really appreciate that.
I mean, that's kind of telling too that Sage doesn't know it's okay to cry. That's her
Right.
upbringing was,
Yeah, like it's some
what are you
kind
crying
of...
about? It better be a good reason.
Marcia Gay Harden.
Judy. We got 2 Judys.
That's a lot. 3 Judys.
Judy was like telling her mom, I'm really angry and I'm a bully, but you gave me good teeth.
I'm angry. I am really angry. I'm a big bully, and I don't know where it comes from.
Don't?
Well, you gave me good teeth, too.
You better take care of them or you're gonna lose them.
They agree they're very similar, but the teeth are good. I just thought that was funny. They obviously love each other very much, but they know they're hard to be around each other.
I like when she meets her assistant and she's like so rude and the guy's like, so nice to finally meet you.
You must be Elle. I'm Ian. Hi, Sage.
Hi.
You guys follow me?
What happened? What's her name? You know, Tiffany.
I don't know, Tiffany. I replaced Sasha.
Ah, boy, she goes through secretaries, doesn't she? You must feel like your head's on the chopping block.
So nice to finally meet you.
That poor assistant.
Yeah.
Like, God.
She's on a desk
It does
treadmill.
suck to be her assistant. She does not need an espresso.
Oh, I read that too. I read that exact thing. When she goes to get an espresso, we're like, don't do that. I liked the line, I always liked women, I just didn't like myself.
So you used to like men?
Oh, I always liked women. I just didn't like myself.
Oh, yeah, that was a great line.
I wrote down, you told me if I ever needed anything I should come to you, because that's what Elle says to Sam Elliott. And I just thought that was another significant thing about why she left the way she did, right? Like, he was never truthful. He pretended to be a good guy and was never actually a good guy. You really get who that guy is.
I know. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't want to go to that guy's house.
Right.
Like, she must have burned a lot
you
of...
must have no friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then he says, it's painful seeing you because it makes me feel
I
old.
hated that line.
Right.
I was like...
You are old.
Dick.
It's painful seeing you, Elle.
What the hell kind of thing is that to say to a woman?
I don't just popped into my head. Male menopause, maybe.
Oh, you're well past menopause. We both are.
It's painful seeing you because it makes me feel old.
Oh, I like being old. Young people are stupid.
Just because your eyebrows are still dark. I wrote that down. Why are his eyebrows so dark? It just looks weird to me. To have gray hair and black eyebrows. And then I just loved the whole thing with the car. I love the car. It's Lily Tomlin's real car, apparently.
Oh, nice.
A 1955 Dodge Royale. Or Royal, I don't know how you'd say it. There's no E at the end. And she says, it's not a prize car. It's not the car that people yearn for, but it has a nice look to it. The car is almost a character in the movie. I knew I kept it for a reason. I thought that was cool. I do think it's a pretty cool looking car. But then I love at the moment at the end, because it was Vi's car, and she keeps like the same tape in the tape deck that was in there. She never says that, but I just feel like when the car turns on, that's gotta be Violet's tape, and she can't.
Oh, I forget
take it out.
was something...
Yeah, just some 90s-ish hip-hop. Like,
Oh.
Here, give it a try.
It's working. Nice tunes.
She must not drive it very often because it's undercover. Then at the end, it dies. She leaves it at the mechanic. He's like, I'm going to look at it and tell you how much it is. And the way she looks at it, I'm like, she's not coming back to the car. You know, she won't be able to afford to fix it. She's going to have to let it go. I just felt like that was really good sort of wordless acting where you're understanding that that's like something she was holding on to because it was her wife's and it made her think of her wife so much. You know, I'm sure it reminded her of so many times. And then she has to just let it go. I love the last shot, though.
Of her walking, and you know she's going to go right because
Yeah.
she hasn't done that in a long time. And yeah, it was really good.
Oh, another sort of common thing you hear, so I'm glad it was included, was the kid, Sage's ex-boyfriend, was like, are you sure it's mine?
Right.
Oh.
We didn't have that in the 21 Jump Street episode. That was like the one thing they didn't touch on. But like a guy always says, right?
Yeah, that is...
That's why they're not the father. They're just some guy that put you in this predicament.
You know you're gonna have to take responsibility for this too.
How do I know it was me?
What?
You heard me?
I didn't sleep with anyone else.
Just slept with Mike.
Yeah, like a year ago, and we used a condom.
Yeah, why didn't you use a condom? Or for humanity's sake, get a vasectomy?
Are you sure it's mine? Like, why would I lie about that?
Right.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
I love Julia Garner.
Yeah, she's great.
Her little face, it's so expressive. I just love her.
She's really wonderful. We did The Assistant. She was so good at that. But I want to do Royal Hotel.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
And I want her to be in, like, all kinds of stuff. She's so good.
Great pate, but I got a motor if I want to be ready for that party tonight.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
So the lunchtime poll is sort of inspired by the men in these narratives saying the guy needs to know. And it's like, no, they don't. It has nothing to do with them. It only makes things worse when they find out if they're not going to be involved. So what is something you wish you didn't know?
Well, my father being very excited that he found a son.
Right.
And I mean, there are stories of people finding out through 21andMe or 23andMe or whatever, like finding these long lost relatives. And I don't need to know this. I'm sure he's a very cool whatever. I mean, like that. I've got nothing against this person who's my half brother. I don't know. Just the way that the news was dropped to me as this like celebratory thing, and I'm just like, I don't need to know that you know. And then there's another thing too with the twins. They went to some birthday party, and at the birthday party, it was known that, like, they're in vitro, they have two moms or whatever, and, like, one of the moms was like, have you met your dibblings? And it's like, I've never even heard this term before, but it's like donor siblings.
Oh.
My sister told this story. I was like, was this woman drunk or something?
That's like such shit boundaries. Like you're asking a child,
like
not any of your concern.
A weird wine mom thing or whatever. My sister's like, yeah, we haven't really talked to them about that yet.
Right.
So
thanks for bringing it up, right?
And so then like that became this. Okay, yeah, you have other siblings or biological, because I guess when you're 18 or something, you can find all that stuff out if you want to. But it's like maybe they won't. I guess you don't really need to know these things. Like it's
it
not.
Definitely wasn't up to that woman to introduce the topic to them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never even heard that term before, and I was just like, that's kind of rude.
And just even the fact that she knows their origin story, probably because she asked nosy questions in the past. Like, that's just not your business.
Or she could just be assuming if she just knows they have two moms, you know.
I mean, that doesn't.
But it was
I know, but,
like
know,
there was this question of like, oh, it's this fun thing to know or whatever, and it's just like,
right,
what?
That right there is just like the crux of the problem. There are so many people who feel like children are everyone's business,
right?
Or the children or lack thereof, or like when a fetus is involved, it becomes everyone's business, and it's like, no, it doesn't. Like that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, they've already had to go through so much. They had to meet with a social worker with the kids so that Cynthia could like adopt her own children. I remember just like, what is up with this lady? It's great that we have the information, and I get like if I want to know like my medical history or whatever, like that would be really great to know. Just because you can doesn't mean you need to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally. Yeah.
I was thinking about all the different ways this question could go, right? The first thing that came to mind was cancel culture stuff, but then I was like, that's not fair to the victims of the person who was canceled. It's like better that we know that Roman Polanski is a problematic filmmaker and J.D. Salinger is problematic. It's better to know those things because it's contextually important, even though it kind of ruins your appreciation of the art. And then I was also just thinking in terms of like family revelations. Like I've definitely had multiple sort of painful family revelations over the years. But when I really get down to it, it's helpful to understanding the behavior of relatives that were affected and all of that. So I decided that even though it's painful, it's good that I know that stuff. So what I came up with two sort of innocuous ones. One is that I wish that I didn't know how the TV show Battlestar Galactica ends. Because that is a show that I absolutely loved until the finale.
Oh.
And then I won't spoil all of Battlestar Galactica for people who haven't seen it, but it recontextualizes the entire series in a very bad way.
Whoa.
So if I were to recommend that show to anyone, I would say just stop before the series finale, and then it'll be great.
It will break your heart.
Yeah, it's so dumb. They make the whole series fucking dumb by this ending. And it was so unnecessary because it was already almost wrapped up, and then they're like, oh, by the way,
There are a lot of shows I feel like have been ruined by the finale. I do not like The Sopranos finale. But it is
open-ended ending.
Yeah, I get that the writers will try to focus on wanting people to talk about it, kind of like takes over the story part of it.
Yeah. And then the other one that was just so far in the past that it doesn't matter anymore. When I was in middle school, I had a crush on this popular-ish boy, and I didn't tell him or want him to know or anything like that, but somehow, like, Mean Girls found out and told him. And so he came up to me and said, I heard that you have a crush on me, and I just wanted to tell you that I don't like you back.
Oh my god.
That is an example of something I didn't need to know.
Oh my god. I have an experience like that too. Like my prom date. I asked him to go to prom with me. And he wanted to meet with me to debrief me on how this is not a date and I don't like you or something. Like, it was terrible.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a great prom.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
I didn't go to
I wish I would have gone with my friends.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, you don't have to tell people that.
I have so many answers for this.
All right, well, now I feel a little weird about my answer for this, but this is just my answer. I was like, oh, would you guys want to do this topic? Yes. Okay. I didn't think about it all other than the thing I was thinking about, right? No, I had already thought of it. I was like, this could be one because I have something for it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't suggest a poll if I didn't have an answer in mind. Like a year and a half ago, I met up with an ex, not my ex-husband, in case my ex-husband is listening. This is not, I'm not talking about you on my podcast.
Hi, Curly.
But anyway, it's an ex who I was at the time not on great terms with, and since then we're on no terms at all. Because he hardly ever responded to me. Like if I texted him or I would send a postcard if I go away or whatever. And he hardly ever responded to me. So it was fine, you know, but he told me, the reason they don't respond when you send me something, I spend so much time reading over it. I'm like a detective looking for clues. He said something else like that, and he's like, and then I just don't know what you're trying to tell me or something. First of all, I was like, there's not subtext. Like, whatever I'm saying to you is what I want to say. And I'm saying it because, like, I don't feel like I'm someone that's like, oh, there's a hidden message and you have to figure it out, you know?
You're not.
And I just said, I'm telling you what I want you to know or what I want to say to you. But I really wish I didn't know that. I really hate feeling like I had that kind of hold over him, like just because of our relationship and what happened and all of that. I hate feeling like having that kind of power over him or that hold over him. I don't want that to be in my head, you know. I mean, now I have resigned myself. He's never going to speak to me again, and it's fine. Yeah. It is what it is. Anytime after that I did try to contact him, I'm like, how much is he going to read into this? Or do you think everything from me is some hidden message, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to a little bit contradict what I just said about I'm not someone with hidden messages. Once in a while, I don't do this anymore, but kind of during that time, 2 separate times, but like many months apart, he basically told me that he was waiting out my relationship with Matt, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, please don't do that, you know? I assume he's not still waiting this out, but once in a while, like during that time, I would just put something on Instagram, just us being a happy couple. I mean, for whatever, but also part of that as a message, I'm never coming back to you or whatever. You know, like not in a mean way, but I really want this for you, that you move on. But like what's weird is like I wonder if like he ever read that into it, you know, like it was interesting to me that whatever he's reading into when he's looking for clues, he probably got it totally wrong, you know.
That's really true.
But I wish I didn't know that. Like I wish it wasn't true, you know. I hope he's over everything now, but like I wish it wasn't true, and if it had to be true, I wish I didn't know it. So,
Does it make you think back like correspondence before you knew it?
Maybe a a little bit, but what's good is that last summer my phone broke. Like, it physically broke. Like, I dropped it on the ground in New Jersey and it like shattered. And I got like basically everything restored on my new phone except all my text conversations were completely gone. So that's kind of good for that person that I'm like, I can never look back at our conversations again because they're gone. I mean, it probably would have if I was ever going to like scroll back to conversations we had. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It makes me think about that How to with John Wilson episode. All those episodes just start out as one thing and then something else. But basically it was about the prison of memory. Oh. And like, if you keep too many records, is that keeping yourself in prison? Is it like human nature to forget things? Is like a preservation technique? Because he would keep like these very detailed journals of everything he did every day for a bunch of years. And then he's like, wouldn't I be better off if that was just sort of like a nebulous time? And that's interesting. But then it is like fun sometimes to find old letters and old journals and stuff. But it can also be a little painful to do that, depending on what's in them, right?
Right.
Oh my God. I had to clean out my mom's storage unit. There was so much paperwork. Weirdly, she would print out emails. And I don't know if
oh my God, my
like
mom did that too.
That's an old person thing, yeah.
I threw away a lot of printed out emails. So and some of them were from my mom to my dad when they were going through a divorce. And like, I was just like, I don't think we should keep. But of course, I read it all. You know, she's like, "Hi, Tony. I know this is your favorite mode of communication." It was just a really weird time. I decided we don't need any of this stuff. I threw away everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't all need to know everything, I guess. Is the lesson here is nobody needs to know everything.
Right.
How very. How should we end Abortionpalooza?
See you next time.
Yeah. Hopefully the next Abortionpalooza we have will be an improvement in the state of abortion in America instead of a further decline. Fingers crossed.
If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to give us 5 stars on your preferred podcast app. If you did not enjoy it, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Jessica Baxter, Amy Green, and Christina Barr. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Blue Sky at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Paid in Puke is produced and edited by Divine Betty Media. Music by Silent Partner and Jessica Baxter. Thanks for listening. You're beautiful.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it